Hey guys, I'm greeting from my garage today. If you follow my channel, you know that I'm a hiker. I'm also a kayaker, but the kind of kayak I use is unique. If you've been following along on the channel, you'll know that I use a Tucktec folding kayak when I get out. It's January here. It's freezing cold in Pennsylvania. Even my garage is cold right now. But I want to talk to you about kayaking. If you're like a lot of us, you might have gotten a kayak for Christmas. What do you need to know as a new kayaker? I'm going to go over some safety information, some really important things I think you should know if you're getting into kayaking, or maybe some things that you don't know if you're already a kayaker. And I think this is going to be really helpful. So excuse the background of the garage here. It's not the greatest lighting or the greatest conditions, but this is the space where I keep my kayak equipment in the winter. Something I really want to recommend is taking a free safety course. So this is certified by the U.S. Coast Guard, and this is a free paddling safety course. So this is a self-paced free program that you can do online at your leisure in your free time, but it's going to cover a lot of the basics that you need to know. It's going to cover launching, it's going to cover safety, it's going to cover how to navigate boat traffic. You know, maybe you're just kayaking the lake at first and everything is pretty easy, but what do you do when you're out in a bay and there's boats going by, or there's buoys, or there's things that you need to learn how to navigate and get around things safely? So this is a really great course. This was the first thing I did when I got my folding kayak, was take this class. And like I said, it's totally free, so you have nothing to lose. Be informed on the rules, learn the right way, so when you go out and kayak, you don't have any problem. I'll have a link for this free paddling safety course in the description, but definitely check this out if you are new to kayaking or you're thinking about getting into kayaking. So let's say you've taken your free boating safety course, you've got your kayak, and you're ready to get out there. What are the most important things that I think you need to be safe? Number one, a life jacket. You want to make sure you always have a life jacket with you, and then you've got to look at your local rules. So here in Pennsylvania, and I also believe in Delaware, you need to have a whistle attached to this. So really simple to just tie this on your life vest here, but be aware of your local laws. In Pennsylvania, between certain months of the year when we get cold weather, you're actually required by law to wear a life vest. So know your local boating laws and make sure you wear a life vest. So for the longest time, I was just using, this is like your basic life vest, and this was good. It did what I needed it to do, but I wanted something better. This doesn't exactly have great range of motion, and a lot of times if you've seen my kayaking videos, this would kind of like ride up on me and choke me while paddling. Looking for a better life vest, consider one that's specifically made for paddle sports like this. So like I said, this is going to cut at the belly button. It's going to not ride up as much when I'm sitting, and I just have so much more range of motion. So I think this is going to be a nice upgrade while still making sure that I'm safe in my folding kayak. Okay, so when I first started paddling, I would just go out, just me, my kids, the kayak, my camera, that kind of stuff. And a viewer pointed out to me, I believe it was Owen from Life's a Hobby, he pointed out to me and said, hey, you really should have a kayak tether. And I never really thought about this, especially with filming, especially with helping the kids. I'm not always fully paying attention. It would be so easy for me to lose my paddle. These are very inexpensive, a couple of dollars. It's like a mesh elastic leash. You put one end around your paddle, and then the other end has this kind of carabiner type clip. There's a lot of loops on the Tucktec folding kayak where you can easily secure this. And if you're in a traditional kayak, I'm sure you can find somewhere, hook it on your life vest, hook it on your boat, find somewhere to attach it. But this is just another safety thing to make sure that you don't lose your kayak paddle, and it's really, really easy to purchase, not expensive. Okay, the next safety item that I think you should have is a dry bag. So I like this one from Dry Sack. I've had this maybe 10 years. I originally bought this when we visited Zion National Park. We were hiking the Narrows, and I wanted something to keep some of our clothing and gear dry, so I bought it for that. But it has evolved into a great item for kayaking. If you're like me, I often have to drive to launch my kayak. And one of the worst scenarios would be to lose your keys, to lose your cell phone, to lose your wallet, to have things get wet. I stay really, really dry in my Tucktec folding kayaks. I've never had any issues. All I really get is paddle splash, but I don't want to take a chance. So I recommend if you're new to kayaking, get yourself a dry bag. It certainly doesn't have to be this big. I like this size because I often put my Canon camera in here. But get yourself a dry bag. Make sure you know how to use it, because you don't want to have any situation where you lose your keys, your cell phone, your wallet. You want to keep things nice and dry and keep yourself safe. Okay, so another thing I want you to think about when it comes to kayaking is make sure that you know your local rules and regulations. So Here in Pennsylvania, if I want to launch in a Pennsylvania state park, I need to have a Pennsylvania launch permit. I believe it's about $10 to $12 for the year. You register your kayak or yourself with the state, you get a little sticker you slap on the side of the kayak, and you're good to go at any Pennsylvania state park at any launch site during that year. Now, other states like Delaware, I can launch from anywhere and I don't need any kind of registration or anything like that. So know your local laws. You don't want to get dinged with a ticket. You don't want to get hit with a fine. Before you get out there and kayak, think about where you're kayaking, what you need to make sure you comply with local laws, and keep that in mind. All right, so let's say you're ready to get out there with your kayak. If you're a new kayaker, a couple of my suggestions are let the weather be in your favor. If you're new to kayaking, don't go out on the windiest day of the year to try kayaking for the first time. Start small and go from there. Find yourself a really calm lake. Maybe you want to start launching from somewhere with a boat launch where there's a little dock and a hand railing. You can ease yourself in the boat. That's a really good suggestion. But kind of start small and go from there. So the easiest things would be a lake, a calm lake on a non-windy day. And then from there, maybe you want to try a river, but be careful of the current or the tide. I've kayaked in canals where you have to be super careful of the tidal changes. That's another great option as you build up that experience level. And then I would say that lastly, one of the hardest places I've kayaked is the bay. You have to deal with tides, you have to deal with waves, you have to be very careful that there's not a small craft advisory. So do yourself a favor, and when you start kayaking, start small, build up your abilities, and then go from there. Don't try to do something too hard at first. So another thing I want to mention is make sure that you have a safety plan. So a lot of times I'll kayak with my kids, but sometimes I do kayak by myself. So when I'm going to do this, what I do is I let my husband or my kids or whoever, whatever loved one is around that day, I'll let them know where I'm going, what the plan is. And then as soon as I get off the water, I usually send a text. Now, sometimes I might be in an area that isn't cell service. I kind of warn my husband like, hey, you might not hear from me a little bit, but I'll let you know. And this just gives somebody an idea where if something would happen to you or you get into trouble, somebody can direct people to where you were and know what you were doing. And this is just good practice, whether you're hiking, whether you're camping, whether you're kayaking, just kind of let somebody know where you're going and what you plan to do for your own safety. All right, guys, well, this is pretty much going to wrap up my video. I hope that whether you're a new kayaker or an experienced kayaker, that you got some advice and some tips from my video. If you have some additional information that you think new kayakers or seasoned kayakers should know, please put it in the video comments. I'd love to hear from you. Please check out my video description. Like I said, if you're interested in learning more about the Tucktec folding kayaks, I'll have some links to some of my other videos. I'll have a link to that discount for my viewers. And then I'm gonna have some links to some products that I love to use when I'm kayaking and that have certainly made the kayak experience a little bit better. One of my plans for the spring is I wanna show you some of the easiest ways to get in and out of the folding kayaks and some little tips and tricks around that. So that's going to be coming up as soon as the weather breaks. I'm hoping I can get back out kayaking. Maybe we'll get a nice couple days in March, maybe April, but I really can't wait for the spring. If you're somewhere warm, I'm so jealous of you. I hope you're out having a great time kayaking. But here in Pennsylvania, I've got to wait till the weather warms up a little bit. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.